MGTOWs.com.
You have a new book out called 101 Conversations, What to Say on a First Date, which I have recommended actually to a few people already who are single. And that's that's the thing that stops them from dating is not knowing what to say. Yeah. And it's like a complete block. So I know you're offering a special on that book. So how do people get it?
I just want to see how many of our listeners are willing to go to my website, franktalks.com. You get 40% off the ebook, What to Say, 101 Great Conversations for a First Date. The code is CJAD 40. CJAD 40. Just go there, use that coupon, and
that's
pick
a
up the
coupon
book.
code. All right, way to go. And thank you from our listeners. Karen, hi, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, I have been pursued, and I've also taken the initiative in relationships.
Okay.
Good
but
for
I'm
you.
thinking now, as I'm getting older, hopefully a little wiser, that it's probably nice to maybe get to know the person as a friend first, so you can get to know each other, like be friendly, be like friends first.
Do you agree with that, Frank, that you should be friends
before you get
first?
romantically involved? Because once you get romantically involved, it's like you lose all your common sense. You know?
Well, no. If you are struggling with your boundaries and not committing certain behaviors because you get totally taken in by the spark that we were talking about, that's one issue. Going out with men that you want to be romantic with and saying, let's just be friends first, you are potentially turning these men off. Because men don't go on dates to make friends. We have enough friends. If we're going on a date, we want to know that there's a potential for something more. What you can do, and I think that this might help you feel a bit more comfortable, if you want to just go out as friends, let them know that they are free to date other people while they're getting to know you. And that might be an option.
That's fine, but I just find that when you get too serious too quick, I don't feel you really get to know a person. You know, I'm just feeling that it's more important to get to know the person.
Yes, but you don't have to marry them the minute you meet them.
But they usually ask you quite soon, don't they?
Well, hold on. What do you consider getting serious?
Yeah, and how soon is soon?
Well, I find after a couple of months, they're talking about marriage.
Well, it depends where they're at in life, too, right? And it depends what that connection is. Now, usually research shows it takes about 6 months to really know somebody and to see them in all their different, parts of life, how they interact, like to really, really get to know somebody. But I mean, in the first few months, it depends at your age. The older you are, the faster it is, and the more experience you have, the faster you can see if somebody is for you.
Karen, I'm just going to point this out to you because I see a lot of women in my practice who have this same type of challenge about worrying what the other person wants. Know what your boundaries are.
I want to get to know the person before I make a deep, serious commitment.
Okay, give me a timeline. You give me a timeline that you feel comfortable with.
I would say a year at least.
Okay, but you're going to stay in the friend zone for a year? Don't you want to see if there's romantic interest on both parts? You think he's going to stick around and say, okay, I'll just stay friends with you for a whole year, and then you get to decide? That's a lot of wasted time if he's looking for a serious relationship. Do you know what I mean?
Well, wait. Let's also find out, Karen, if you're willing to share this. Is this for religious reasons?
No, I just want to take my time. I want to enjoy the friendship, the courtship.
Well,
I want to be sure. I don't want to break anybody's heart. I don't want to.
Okay. Well, look, you can't worry about breaking someone's heart as long as you're honest with them.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And if you really do want to just date casually for a year, I'm assuming when you say date casually, you're not interested in being sexual?
I just want to get to know the person before I get too involved.
And where does sex fit into that? Because are you having sex during this year courtship?
Not necessarily.
Okay, so you want to wait a year before sex. If these are your boundaries, and this is really how you want to approach it, you have every right to do that. But you have to understand that not everyone that you meet is going to be comfortable waiting a year and having a friendship for a year unless they themselves are
in the same position.
In the same position. So if this is the case, and again, I'm not going to tell you what your rules should be, but I will tell you that whatever your rules are, there are going to be people who don't agree. You have to be willing to let those go.
Right.
But the more strict your rules are, and in your case, these would be considered strict by current social norms, the more strict your rules are, the more you have to be the one to make the first move.
Make sense, Karen?
Yes.
All right. Thanks so much for calling in.
Good luck, Karen.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye. More dating dilemmas and the last couple of words. Maybe another question if we can get that in right here on Passion on CJAD.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Last few minutes of dating dilemmas here. 514-800. Texter says she better look like a Bo Derek because nobody's waiting a year. And I guess that's, he echoes what some men might say.
I think a lot of men might feel that way because they just don't want to have their time wasted. And the same way she doesn't want to be hurt, these men don't want to be used. With that said, maybe there's a guy out there who's struggling to perform sexually and he needs to take the time to get to know somebody before he feels comfortable.
He wants to go slow. Maybe there is somebody there who really wants to go slow first, too.
Maybe he's a widower and he hasn't been with anybody new in 20 years and he might want to go slow. So, but again, she's going to have to make the first move and she's going to have to do the work.
Or he's an adult male virgin.
Need help with love, sex, dating and relationships? Visit franktalks.com.
If you need help with your relationships, my buddy Frank, he's got some tips. Just go to franktalks.com. His advice is better than your mom's. He knows what you're going through, 'cause Frank has been there too. So log on to franktalks.com. franktalks.com.